Hi, everyone. We're going to get a video up to kick us off.
Boom, boom, eyes, lips, space, wait. Give them all the stage.
Awesome. Woo! Raise your hand if you love e.l.f. Same. So I'm very excited to be moderating this panel and speaking with Pat today. In my role at Bizarre Voice, I get the opportunity to work with many amazing brands, but there's no brand that stands out quite like e.l.f. Pat, I admire you all for many reasons. I love your products. I love how fast you move, and relevant to today's topic, I really admire how true you always stay to your values. It is also, we realized, International Women's Day. So
woo, give it up.
Woo! A fitting day for this topic, and one that I'm very excited about. Personally as well, I used to be an amateur boxer, so I know what it's like to be a woman in an underrepresented sport. And e.l.f. has always led the way in just championing women's sports and doing really incredible work. So very excited to dive into this today. Before we get started, Pat, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and your role?
Well, first of all, thank you all for taking the time to chat with us for a bit. And I want to make this as interactive as possible. So please, if you have questions, let us know. Do I have your commitment for that?
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Patrick O'Keefe. I'm the Chief Integrated Marketing Officer at e.l.f. Beauty. I've been there about 6 years. I spent about 10 years at L'Oreal, 7 years at Shiseido. I served in the Air Force, so thank you. Yeah. And I've been in beauty for most of my career, and I couldn't be more proud to work for a company that really does have purpose and value. And I will tell you, working for some bigger companies, they're a little slower to move. They do believe in purpose and mission, but we actually live it every day. So that's what makes me proud and gives me the spirit to wake up every morning.
Awesome. Well, let's kick us off, because I do have a lot of questions for you.
Oh, great.
To get us started, e.l.f. has really built a reputation for inclusivity and championing underrepresented voices. But how do you all do so in a way that's really genuine and doesn't feel just like a marketing message?
Yeah, no, it takes work. It definitely takes work from the lowest person in the organization. And I say that with the most love, because everyone has purpose within the organization, all the way up to our C-suite. So, we are bold disruptors with a kind heart. We disrupt norms, we shape culture, and we connect communities through positivity, inclusivity, and accessibility. And that is the framework in which we work every day. And I say that because when we are building a campaign, when we are hiring employees, when we are talking to our board, our investors, it always comes with that sense of purpose and mission. And when I look back at the years of what we've been doing for the last five and a half years, I started when we were $250 million in net sales. And 5.5 years later, we hit 1.3 billion. And it's because we lead into the community that we serve every day. They tell us what we need to be doing, and we go and do it. And when you lean into your community, I will tell you that does make a difference. So we listen, we learn, and then we lean in, and we actually do.
That's amazing. I think that commitment to listening comes through with so many of your unique partnerships. And to go there next, my second question is if we could just dive into an example of a campaign or initiative, because you all have had so many amazing ones, but one that really sticks out to you when it comes to women's sports.
Yeah, no, there are quite a few. So we've been in this space for about 5 years. We've been playing in this space. It started when we partnered with People. We created a franchise called Pep Talk. And it was really to inspire young girls to stay in sports, because what we do know is that girls drop out of sports 2 times faster than boys. And our mission is always to encourage and empower the underserved and to find a place for them to have a home. And we build that community. And from Pep Talk, we partner with Billie Jean King. I don't know if you know Billie Jean King, but she is an incredible humanitarian. She's a brilliant, lovely, incredible human being. And she was celebrating 50 years of equal pay for equal play. She was a pioneer in the 70s to really change that for women in tennis. And then she was also supporting what she called the Battle of the Sexes. I don't know if you know this, but it was in the 70s. She played Bobby Riggs. She kicked his ass. And it changed the conversation for women in tennis forever. And she is a big fan and a big partner of e.l.f. She loves our holy hydration. Shameless plug. And she says it all the time. And she also has a cup called the Billie Jean King Cup. So if you think of the Davis Cup, this is the women's version of the cup. And we are the official partner for the Billie Jean King Cup. What's really incredible about that is she is the only, well, it kind of sucks, but she is the only woman that has a sports cup named after her. So we're really proud of that partnership. She is our agency of record for all things sports, Billie Jean King Enterprise. And so that is one way that we leaned in. We've also partnered with Catherine Legg. How many of you know who Catherine Legg is? If you don't, I will tell you right now.
Awesome.
Catherine is the only female driver in the Indy 500. So you're probably wondering, why is e.l.f. showing up at the Indy 500? Well, there are 350,000 people that show up to the Indy 500 every single year. And 48% of them are women and young girls, and not one person was talking to them. When you would walk into this sea of areas where you could go and hang out and to get boosts or free product, it was Goodyear tires and Waste Management. And we showed up. We brought a DJ. We celebrated the 9 women before Catherine because the Indy's been around for 109 years. And she was an incredible human being by being there graciously greeting everyone that was there to hang out and meet her personally. We did makeup. We did a Twitch live stream, which was really powerful. So we had got incredible women to come and show up and really talk about the power of women in sports and what Catherine is doing on the racetrack. We did a Snapchat filter, which got thousands and thousands of views. We also built a game in Roblox because we're also on Roblox. So that was another opportunity for us to kind of show up in the space of the Indy 500. We've done something in, I don't know if you guys know where Columbia, Missouri is, but it's 2 hours south of St. Louis. I went there the day after New Year's. There are 3,000 people that show up for a wrestling tournament. Wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports for young girls. And there were 300 young girls that were wrestling in 14 different weight classes. Why is that important? Because it shows the power of accessibility in a sport, and we wanted to be there. What I loved in that moment was the girls could be badasses on the mat and they could come up and get their makeup done. And it was really cool. We did a Twitch live stream with the first women Olympian who is a wrestler. And she came on and just told us her story and her journey for being a young girl wrestling, having a passion for wrestling, and then showing up and narrating that story. And it was a really, really powerful moment for the young girls to hear this from an Olympian. So it was an inspirational moment. We also partner with the PWHL. It's the first women's hockey league. Again, founded by Billie Jean King and her wife, Lana. And we are the official partners with them as well. And yesterday, we signed the papers to be the official partner for the NWSL, so the National Women's Soccer League. So sports is a big part of it. Why are we there? We're there to really celebrate and empower young girls and give them the inspiration with key leaders like Billie Jean, Catherine Legg, and many others that will follow.
I love that.
We're going to show you a quick little video, right?
We at e.l.f. are sponsoring the only female driver at Indy 500 today.
This is the first time that she's been able to do it and lean in to the girl of it.
Empowering legendary females.
Yeah.
Did you all see that car? I'm a toddler mom, so I want one in mini size.
Just wait. They're coming.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm absolutely going to buy that. No, Pat, I love all of those stories. I think especially the one about women's wrestling. How cool for those girls who are used to being maybe the only female wrestler in their high school to then see a big brand like e.l.f. come up and sponsor them. And it's also, I think, so incredible for e.l.f. because you think about all of the other beauty brands who are competing for partnerships with the same beauty influencers over and over again. And I love what you were saying about the insights that found these audiences that are part of the every eyes, lips, and face audience, and how much more impact you're able to make by meeting them where they're interested versus just within that specific beauty ecosystem.
We call them beauty deserts. That's where no one is talking to them. So that's why we want to be there. Yeah.
Moving on, I'd love to next talk about your goals. What's coming up next for e.l.f. For women in sports specifically?
Well, listen, the NWSL is a big part of it. But if you think about what we're doing in the spirit of, there's 84% of people who watch sports really love women in sports. Another 50% are also competing for women in sports. There's also, like I mentioned, an opportunity for 94% of these women that played sports are also sitting on boards of directors. So as we continue to look forward, we want to create opportunities for those young girls that are kind of walking away from the sport, and how do we keep them inspired to stay in? And there's a bigger campaign that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but it really does tie together, leaning into our purpose and our mission and our values to ensure that we're inspiring all women and young girls to create leadership roles. And I'm proud to be a part of it.
I love that. Next, let's talk a little bit about how you're approaching these creator partnerships. Billie Jean King, Catherine Liege, those are some serious baddies. How are you doing so in a way that's authentic to their voice while still tying in the e.l.f. vision?
Listen, as you can imagine, and there may be someone in the audience, sports is a very fragmented space, and there's a lot of different categories, a lot of different leagues, and it gets really hard. So that's why we did bring in Billie Jean and the team and her team to help us sort through it, because we don't know what we don't know, and we want the experts to help guide us. But when I think about what we're doing in this space, and Billie, and I think about Catherine Legg, and I think about all the others that we're going to continue to partner with, Billie was, ironically, true story, a friend of mine was sitting at dinner. He was trying to sell me a drone show. And I was like, oh my God, dude, please don't sell me a drone show.
A drone show.
And he's like, no, Pat, really, drone shows are being shown at the Australian Open, the US Open. This was a few years ago. And I was like, all right, great. And then he's like, Billie Jean King is celebrating 50 years of equal pay for equal play. And she's also celebrating 50 years of Battle of the Sexes. I'm like, I want that. So literally, we know what Billie stands for. And the next day we reached out to her manager, and that's how that relationship was formed. It was by accident. There was it was a story, and that led into a beautiful relationship. Catherine Legg was the same way. We all get thousands of emails a day, at least I do. And the subject line read, partner with the only female driver in the Indy 500. I clicked on the link, and it led me to Clint, who is her manager. And I called him. I said, I want to be a part of this. And so that's how those things unlock. But to go back to and once we met her, she loved e.l.f. Billie loved e.l.f. So they have to be authentic to the brand. I know that word is overused, but the reality is when they're talking about your brand in a voice that sounds very familiar to who you are, you're like, shit, I want to hang out.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And it's also, I feel like, for women in sports, we all know women are often paid less than men in sports, and it's such a great opportunity to have e.l.f. as a brand that's sponsoring these women's leagues, really just to help elevate.
100%.
I want to talk next about Gen Z. I know e.l.f. is for every eyes, lips, and face, but we know Gen Z loves your brand. And how do you connect with Gen Z in a way that is authentic to them? Because they are so mission-driven and known for being mission-driven. Is there anything specific you're doing for the Gen Z audience to just connect with them in a way that's real and empowering?
Yeah, it just goes back to, Kristen Falk is over here. She's been with me for about 7 years, or 6 years, I should say. And part of when we started, we were looking at the influencer and creator community, and we recognized that there was an opportunity to serve the underserved. If you go back even in 2019, when everyone was afraid of TikTok because of the data challenges that were potentially looming at that time.
Right.
And we dove in and we partnered with some really cool creators and influencers. Nobody knew what e.l.f. stood for. Our unaided awareness at the time was roughly 13 to 14%. We're now at 33%, which is insane.
Wow.
You grow a point every year. We've grown in 5 years up to 33% unaided awareness. And I attribute a lot of that to what we did on TikTok and the influencer community that we partnered with. As we all know, at the time in 2019, TikTok was really built for Gen Z. We leaned in hard, and that's what really drove kind of the spirit of Gen Z wanting to hang with us. There's also a partner that we worked with, Magic Links, love them. They were a great partner in building our affiliate program. They leaned in hard too with Gen Z. So that was another way that we found and discovered new people to find and follow our brand. And then I think it's the content. There's a stat that says 94% of people will follow brands that create humor into your world. And we love making people laugh and having fun. We make fun of ourselves every single day. And I think that's a big part of how we really attract the Gen Z. We also over-index with Gen Alpha because of what we're doing on Roblox. And we over-index with millennials as well.
Awesome. That eyes, lip, face TikTok sound you all did when you really launched big on TikTok. I still get that sound in my head every time I think of the e.l.f. brand. It really does stick. Okay, let's talk next about measurement. You've mentioned just a lot of measurement as we've been discussing all of these commitments so far. And I'm just curious, how are you assigning goals to these campaigns? And that could be brand loyalty, it could be engagement, or it could actually be actual change.
Yeah, I love this question. And again, coming from a bigger brand, measuring was always important to drive impact, right? And driving sales. And when at e.l.f., we believe building a brand first will always drive impact for sales later. So it's first about leaning into your mission, which is what we do really well. And then from there, it drives you through the funnel down to the end. So right now, we are the #2 mass beauty brand in all of beauty, when 5.5 years ago, we were #7, which is insane. That's in in sales. And units, we're the #1 brand. So obviously our price point, we're value brand, so we have to sell a lot more units.
Right.
So what that tells us is that the people are leaning in. And they're leaning in because they believe in value and quality. And entering into the beauty space, you better have good products or people are just not going to buy them. We know we have great products. Our head of innovation comes from Prestige. So she's building stuff to create value and quality in a way that no one else can. And another fun stat I mentioned earlier is that just seeing that we were the #1 stock on the New York Stock Exchange last year, and that really was a testament to what our investors are feeling about the brand and how we're showing up. And we continue to drive our KPIs. And every year we do a study. It's an MMM study through Nielsen. And I can tell you our ROIs are really good.
That's amazing. I love too just how you're able to tie back the stock performance to the commitment to values, because I think especially now, oftentimes those are seen as conflicting priorities. And for e.l.f., by staying so core to your mission, it's great that financially you all are doing so well as well.
100%.
All right. What is one challenge that you would give to all the brand leaders in the room?
One challenge I would give to all the... So I mentioned this earlier. Again, coming from big company, where it's all about driving a transaction. What we do really well is we listen to our community every day. My boss, Corey Marchesotto, is the CMO. She reads every comment. I read every comment. And what we do is we have what we call a tiger team every Monday, and we see what the community is telling us. Our CEO will go on TikTok lives. Our CFO will go on our Twitch live streams. That is connecting with our community on a deeper level. So we're hearing what they're telling us. So my advice for every marketer in this room is listen to your community, understand what they want, and then find your way in and do it in a way that makes sense for your brand.
I love that. I feel like today there's so many tools to help us listen at scale, but just like those simple anecdotes that your CMO is going in and reading comments on TikTok, that's how you really connect with the community. You need to go in and really engage.
Well, you guys do some cool shit at Bazaar Voice.
I think we do.
I know we're great partners. We do a lot of great things. Talk about community-led, what they do with ratings and reviews. It's such a way for you to have access to your community in a way that's authentic. I love what you guys are doing there.
Thanks, Pat. 100%. e.l.f. has always been such a natural partner for us as well, because we have a big community called Influencer that will engage for brands. And there's just so many e.l.f. enthusiasts already on the Influencer platform that when we're partnering with you all to sample products and drive reviews, it's just feels fun because you're getting product to the hands of true enthusiasts who really want to try it out.
Love it. Love, 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 love.
Awesome. I think we have one more sizzle too. Do you want to tee that one up?
Yeah. How many of you have heard about our Change the Board game, So Many Dicks, Not Enough of Everyone Else? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. You might have heard Corey talk about it, but all right. So just for those of you that haven't, the insight is there are more Richards and Dicks on boards of directors than there are of underserved groups, Hispanic, Asian, Black. And we wanted to change that conversation. Our board representation right now is 77% women and 44% diverse. And we're super proud of that stat, but we can't be the only ones. So our call to action is to have more companies that are showing up to represent in a way that really makes impact. And we know that when you have diversity or equality across the board on boards of directors, your business will get better, because you have every voice being represented, just like our community has every voice being represented. So we're gonna show you a quick video about Change the Board game, and then my call to action to all of you is, let's get out there and change the board game.
At e.l.f., we stand for every eye, lip, and face. But that spirit of inclusivity doesn't show up everywhere it should. A company's board represents its stockholders and communities. So if boards don't reflect the diversity of the real world, real people get left behind. In fact, there are more men on U.S. corporate boards named Richard, Rich, or Dick than entire groups of underrepresented people. Wow. That's a lot of dicks and not enough of everyone else. That's why we're changing the board game. We believe seats at the table are for people of all ethnicities and genders, and our board is proof. Do you know how many of the roughly 4,000 publicly traded companies in the U.S. can say that? 2. For real. That's less than 1%. Having a board that represents real people isn't just the right thing to do. It's also good for the bottom line. We're working to make sure more women and diverse leaders are placed on corporate boards across the country. And we invite other companies to join us, because together we can change the board game.
Woo!
All right. I think we have about 5 minutes left if anyone has any questions.
Hello, I'm Emily Reagan. I'm with the University of Texas.
Oh.
And former Bazaar Voice. Nice to see you. I'm curious. So at UT, we have a tremendous amount of success in women's sports. In the last 5 years, we've won a national championship in volleyball, tennis, swimming and diving, rowing several different times. What are you doing in the NIL game to think about how do you connect with those Gen Z followers and influencers?
You're good.
So, can you repeat the last piece of the question?
I'm curious what you're doing in NIL, if you're doing anything related to sponsoring female athletes in college.
Right now, and it's like I said, the category, the industry, there's so much we could be doing. So current state, we're not doing anything at this stage. What I will offer is that it's not a no, it's more of when. Mm-hmm. And it's how do we find time to make sure we're doing it authentically to the brand. When I think back to what we're doing with people and Pep Talk, there are people that we've celebrated over the 20 different content series that we created that were part of e.l.f. they were, but they were there on behalf as an editorial mention within the People magazine, and then they talked about what they could do to inspire young girls to stay in sports. So the short answer is current state, no. It's not a no. It's just not right now.
Hi, thank you. Makita from Bumble. My question is, I feel like e.l.f. has amazing partnerships and they're so unique and not expected. How do a lot of these partnerships form? Is it from that community listening or is it brainstorms with different people on the team? Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And a lot of it is really the community tells us what they want to hear and what they want to see. And it's also just when we meet fun, cool people that really want to hang out with us, that are authentic to the brand and they love what we're doing and we love what you're doing, we come together and we figure out how to make it work. It's not one size fits all. It's not one-sided. It's really a team of people that really want to do something different and change the world. Like when I look at Liquid Death, the insight there was water's really boring. Beauty can be really boring. It's the same shit so we thought, and we also, the insight really was, goth makeup was really trending on TikTok, and we're like, okay, let's do something fun together. We didn't know what it was. Same thing with Chipotle. The insight there was people kept walking by the what's that, the bar, whatever that bar is called, and saying this should be a makeup palette. That's how that was born. We did a partnership with the Weather Channel, which was brilliant. I mean, why would a beauty company partner with the Weather Channel? 8 out of 10 women will change their beauty behavior because of the weather. I mean, that was so obvious. So again, it's like finding what makes sense based on an insight, the community interaction, and then finding the partners that want to hang with us. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Is there one more?
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of working with e.l.f. If you haven't before, step in line because you will learn more than I learned more than I think ever in my career by working with e.l.f. as a brand, because they move really fast and they're super innovative and they bring you in a really interesting way. So no, Patrick did not plant that question. He didn't pay me for this. What I'm interested in is this experience that we've seen over the last couple of years of a lot of brands becoming media conglomerates, which I've seen e.l.f. really lead the charge in this way. The work that you did with Benny and Judge Judy, obviously the work that you've done with Super Bowl commercials. So I'm interested to know, what have you learned from these larger media creative plays, especially with the Super Bowl commercial? And is that something that you're going to continue to do?
No, I love that question. We learn every day. I wake up like it's a new day every day. I am exhausted, just for the record. Yes, I said that out loud. I'd probably get fired now. But anyway, so we are an entertainment company. We really are. We happen to sell beauty products. I'm very fortunate that I am starting an entertainment arm under my world, if you will, and they will be driving what we call the immersive space, which is gaming. We launched an album called Get Ready with Music. It was with 13 emerging young talent. And the insight there is that music and artists, have a really hard time trying to break into the music world. And we know that if we can just offer 1 ounce of support and help, that I think that'll be more than most people would do for them in a lifetime. And we also, the sports angle, there's entertainment areas that we haven't even thought about yet. But what we learn is every time we do a campaign, we do what we call an after action review. We study it, we understand what worked, what didn't work, and then we try to fix it so it doesn't happen again if it didn't work. And then we lean in where we think it works. I told you earlier, humor is a big part of our culture. It makes people, when we can make people smile and have fun, we know we're gonna win. So, yeah.
Love that. All right. Let's give it up for Pat.
Give it up for Sam. Woo! And Bazaar Boys, Magic Links in the house. Thank you. And D1A.
Thank you, Pat.
We also have
so
Snapchat in the house.